Who is Aston Villa's most important player? And let's rank every single Villa player so far this season. Hello and welcome back to Up the Villa international break. Come at the wrong time for Villa, just when we're getting into our stride. So, international content is upon us, and on today's episode, we are going to be trying to find Aston Villa's most important player, and I need your help. I want you guys in the comment section to let me know who you think that player is, the most important, the undroppable. When it comes to a big game, who is our big game player, and who do we think can carry us to some form of glory this season, whether that's Europa League, FA Cup, getting back into the Champions League. But let's also review, rank, grade the Aston Villa players so far this season on how they're doing, who's standing out, who isn't. And this probably will show who our most important player is. So, I need your help as well. I'd like it if you can all hit that like button. It does go a bit dry in the international break. So if you can help me out by just doing that, it makes a massive difference to the channel. So let's try and have a like target of 800. Get involved and subscribe if you're new. Let's get into it then. Right. We're going to kick it off then. I'm kind of just in an order that's on my tactical pad. So there's defenders, and then we go to midfielders, and then we've got a couple of defenders at the end. But we're going to kick it off then with Emi Martinez. So I actually think he's having a pretty good season. And we saw at the weekend what he's all about. When the time is there for him to step up, he steps up. I mean, I've mentioned the energy of the crowd when that penalty and Martinez was doing this, and I've never heard nothing like it. And we empowered him, and we gave him that little bit of, I feel like we gave him that energy to save that. Big game player. And the save before that was sensational. We've kept clean sheets this season. And I actually feel like, yes, you can probably go, but he cost us against Liverpool. I think every player can make a mistake. But when you make a mistake, it's not about holding a player accountable for the next 10 games. It's how do they react? And look what he did in the next game. So Emi Martinez, for me, is getting an 8 so far this season. That is very, very high. But I also hold him in a high regard as one of our most important players at the same time. So I think a solid 8 for him is pretty fair, to be honest. Next up, we've got Matty Cash, who, again, he's having a sensational season. I think he's tactically, technically, on the ball, off the ball, concentration has been pretty much perfect, popping up with goals. A mentality from him that I really like. I like the mature nature of Matty Cash so far this season. And I think he's been arguably like probably one of the best players so far for Villa this season. So Matty Cash is also going to be getting a solid 8. Next up, we've got Ezri Konsa, who, again, I've said this now about Matty Cash, and I'm now saying it about Ezri Konsa. He has gone up a level this season. I think England has helped Konsa to go up a level. I think it's enabled him to have more belief and a sense of belonging within the high echelons of Premier League defenders. One thing in football at the minute is really getting on my nerves, and it's the hype of Mark Guehi. I look at that and I go, that's just a hype trend. Yes, he's very good. He's a very good defender. He's good on the ball. But is he any better than Ezri Konsa? No. I actually think he's not as good as Konsa. And that's somebody who watches Konsa week in, week out, but has also watched Mark Guay to try and understand what this hype is all about. And for me, I think Konsa is a level above Mark Guay. I think this season, Konsa's got a maturity, he's got a presence, he's got this aura. I think that the word I'm looking for with Konsa is an aura. When he gets the ball, there's an aura that he's not losing it. You're not knocking him off it. There's a calmness, a composure, and I'm just absolutely loving it. So for me, I've gone on a bit of a rant about Mark Gray and Konsa because Konsa for me is clear, absolutely clear. But Konsa is getting a 9. He is absolutely crucial to us. Our back line, we keep clean sheets. We've only conceded, 10 goals, which is pretty decent. The discipline with our high lines there. And I actually felt like first half against Bournemouth, he looked a little bit, I was a bit like, Konsa, what's going on? But then he had a really good game, but you notice the little things where, a little bit of a touch or a bit of under pressure or looked a bit shaky on the ball, and he drew a foul, but it was kind of like a foul, but not a foul. And so you notice him now when he doesn't look Rolls Royce, and they're few and far between. So Ezri Konsa gets a 9 for me so far this season. He's been right up there. Tyrone Mings is going to get a 7. I think Mings has done okay this season. I think Mings now is minute should be, squad. I think that's probably pretty fair. I think we now can see that the level between Pau and Mings is quite large. And I think the season that we qualified for the Champions League, Pau was unbelievable. And we starting to get that Pau Torres back. And it's really important. I mentioned in pre-season that I felt like Pau had worked on his aggressive defending and he's 1v1, and I think he has improved that. But I think Tyrone Mings hasn't done anything wrong. I think he's been okay, but I think that's what he has been for me. He's been okay, and I think we need to manage these minutes quite a lot because he's got another injury now, a hamstring that's out for say 7-8 weeks, which is a long time now. So I think a solid 7 for Tyrone Mings. Digne, I'm going to give a solid 7 as well. I'm comparing him to Cash. They've got totally different roles in the team. But I feel like out of the two, who do I think's performed better? It's Matty Cash. So I think my 7 rating is quite, I feel like, okay to go 1 lower because I think he's been pretty solid. I think he's been everything that Digne has been for us, barring a little bit of creativity. I think he's still having that width down that left-hand side. I'd just like to see a little bit more venturing forward at times, a little bit more progressive on the ball. But, he's absolutely solid. And a 7 is actually a really good rating. If you can be a 7 all season, you've been pretty consistent and pretty solid. So Digne, do think he's got another little level to get to, but a solid 7, I think he's absolutely fine. John McGinn is getting a 9. I've been massively impressed with John McGinn this season. I think leadership has gone up a level. I think sometimes I look at Villa on the pitch and think, who is the leader? But we go back to our start and we were in pretty much disarray, really. We weren't great, were we? We were just devoid of ideas, identity, confidence. And John McGinn dragged us out of that patch and had the ability to to get us playing better. And when he talks, he knows what's at stake. He wants to win a trophy. And I actually don't mind this season that Villa players are saying that we want to win a trophy. We want to do this, and we Europa League cons are saying that we want to win it. We want to go all the way, etc. And that's fine now, because that's the expectation I think we have put on this team, and they're putting on themselves as well. I think we can use experiences from the Champions League, from the FA Cup last year, and think what a missed opportunity. But use that to your advantage now. Use that as added drive to want to be able to succeed. And John McGinn has just been majestic. His battling ability, his power, his aggression, his tenacity, his tackling, his goals that he's been scoring. I think he's so important to this Aston Villa team, and I just love watching him. There's a few players in this team that I love watching, and John McGinn is one of them. Have we got any others so far that I've done? Yeah, Conser, I love watching Conser. I love watching John McGinn. I love watching them all. But, there's certain players that you obviously really like, and some that you're like, yeah, you're all right. But you do have your favourites, don't you? So that I think that's fair. Well, up next, we've got Tielemans. I'm going to go base solid 7. I think minutes have been a problem with his injury, but we know his importance. We know how crucial he is to Aston Villa. We know what he did last season, and we need now for him to get back to his best. And we had a comment at the weekend saying, who comes out the team for Tielemans? Well, as of right now, nobody. So his job now, right now, is to try and get back in the team, because for me, he doesn't walk straight back in this team, and nor should he. He's got to earn his opportunity in the team now, because I think there's certain players that are all playing really well for Aston Villa, and healthy competition, having starters and having finishers is really important. And this is how you become better as a team, when you've got individual players that just keep pushing each other and making sure that you're staying on your toes, that you're performing to a high level, just like what Maatsen does for Digne. So right now, Tielemans got to get back in this team for me. Another player who I think is going to get a solid 7 is Bogard. I think he has really stepped up this season within his maturity, within his confidence levels, and his reliability. Again, we saw at Bournemouth, he got the ball in central midfield, little shimmy drive forward, and he's away. And the crowd goes, oh, and you're like, I mean, he weren't doing that last season. He was playing within himself. It was easy pass. It was nothing that was sort of outstanding. But now his overall game has been absolutely brilliant. And again, he's there pushing the others, trying to get into the team, and he's a really solid player for Aston Villa, and somebody that, he's a bit of a utility player for Villa, and I think that is a good role to have in this team, because we are absolutely stacked with quality. Next up, we've got Buendia. Right, where do I put Buendia? I think you're going to think I've put him quite low, or lowish. I'm going to give him an 8. I think he has been absolutely unreal for Aston Villa. I think my expectation of him has been brilliant. And I don't think there's any Villa fan that thought Buendia was going to do this for Villa. There can't be, because the evidence just wasn't there, was it? The evidence wasn't there. This is the best version of Buendia that we have ever seen Aston Villa. This has got to be factual, because he's getting about the pitch, he's confident, he's actually, when I actually keep thinking about his performance at the weekend, there wasn't actually that many Hollywood passes in there. And I actually think he's toned that down a little bit, which is better. And his distribution is better. His belief is there. So a solid 8 for me because I actually do believe that he can get better. I actually think he can get better, but I don't think he's been better than Concert and McGinn for me. So that's why I've put him in that. But 8 is still a very good and a really high score, right? And 8 is good, And I think the other thing that I've been thinking about as well is the fact that we weren't as good against Liverpool, but who didn't play? Buendia didn't play. So does that add a little bit of something into that Liverpool game as well? That Buendia wasn't available and we weren't as good. So brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I am going to rate Emery as well, so I'll touch on Emery as well. Ollie Watkins, Ollie Watkins, he's going to get a 6. Now, I think I'll talk positives and then I'll touch on some of my negatives. He epitomizes what Emery wants from Watkins, runs the channels well, is a threat in behind. Tactically, he fulfills the role on the left, which is what Emery wants from him, stretching the opposition. But I think we need goals, guys. We need his goals. We need an output from him. And unfortunately, at the minute, we haven't got one. And he's got 1 goal, which isn't good enough for a seasoned Premier League striker. So I hope, this is what I hope, that this 2-week break does him the world of good. He's able to rest, recover, get his knee ready, because Tuchel said he's playing with this knee problem. So hopefully that can sort itself out. And he just needs to be relaxed. I think now when I'm watching him and I'm seeing these sort of, they're not chances, they're opportunistic flashes. So ball comes across the box, he quickly strikes it and it could go wide or could take a deflection, or it's just a nearly moment that you're like, oh, it didn't happen. Against Bournemouth, he got come to the left-hand side, got his shot off, blocked. But it's all a bit quick. And when I talk about good players, I always say that for the good players, in the right moment, time slows down. When you watch an opposition player strike a ball like Salah, or even, for example, Mateta, or strikers in the Haaland's running through on goal, 1v1. There's always that little pause, I think, where you're just like, this is inevitably going to go in the back of the net. But I know it's going in there. Whereas with Watkins, I feel like he's through on goal and it's like, oh, he's the touch, the going around the keeper. Like, it's all a bit like this. It just needs to chill. Let it be in control. Don't let the excitement sort of get the better of him. So that's what I kind of feel like's happening, guys. I feel like there's a little bit of just not calm enough. Let's just be calmer and let's just not sort of, don't really go on the pitch thinking, if I don't score, I've had a bad game, because sometimes it's not a problem. Ollie Watkins' performance against Bournemouth was not a problem. We won 4-0. It's not a problem. So let's just relax a little bit. So I'm going to give him a 6. I think a 6 is pretty fair. I can't give him any more than that because he's only scored 1 goal and he's in the team to score goals. So I praise him for the work he does, but he needs to score goals. So there we go. Right. Next up, we've got Rodgers. And I actually feel like I'm actually going to give him probably a head and heart. My heart is saying he should be getting an 8, but my head is saying he's getting a 7. And he's getting a 7 because There's so much more to come, but he is a big player for Aston Villa. He is a huge player for Villa, where for me, I look at the team and he has to be in it. So he's a big time player and he's performing a lot better than what he was. He had a really good shot at the weekend. He's better on the ball. He's driving forward. He looks happy at the end of the game with Onana. I like that camaraderie, the spirit's there. So he's getting a 7, but a little bit like Digne, a 7. He's going to improve. He's going to go up. And we'll do this again at another point, and he'll get a higher rating. So he's going to get a 7 for me. Guess on. I'm actually going to give him a 5. And here's my honest thoughts on Gesson, is the fact that I'm actually quite calm about him. I haven't written him off. No, I am so far from writing him off. I am just pretty calm with him. And I think he needs to adapt. We are 11 games in. I think we're 11 games in. Let him just grow. Let him just take an opportunity. Try and just grow as a Villa player and take an opportunity. And if this season he has a solid, okay, he's decent, let's see what maybe like next season can offer, where the system, the team can look different. Because do I believe he's a right winger? No. Do I believe he's doing a job? Yes. So, the weekend when he came on and he won that tackle and he dribbled with the ball and he kept hold of it and he won a foul. For me, in that moment, that was just as big as him getting an assist or scoring, because the way he contributed for the team is so important. And if he keeps coming off the bench and doing that like he did against Man City, then absolutely fine. Does he need to improve on his dribbling or his decision making and looking after the ball? Of course he does. We can all see that. But I don't think hammering him and saying he's a bad player and he's slow and he's this and he's that and what have we signed? I think we've got to stick with him a bit more, because I think we've seen, I can't compare him to Buendia, because with Buendia, we have seen bright moments from Buendia, but you can kind of see the way in which Buendia was surplus to requirements, went out on loan to Leverkusen. Nobody expected Buendia to have the season he's had now. So coaching is important. Being in the right moments is important. So for me, he's getting a solid, that's a solid 5 in it. But yeah, there's more to come. Like, I'm not giving up on him at all. So Harvey Elliott, it's harsh on him, but he hasn't played, has he? So there's nothing more to say. I think he's going back, and I don't know whether there's a clause in it. I don't know whether maybe in January, if another club wanted him, then could they bid what we bid and take him on loan and then sign him? Could they do something like that? Maybe. But as of right now, he's not going to be a Villa player come next season, in my opinion. Bezot, we are going with a solid 8. Very impressed with him. I've loved watching him. I've loved the safe pair of hands. So I think he has been absolutely fine. Lindelof, going to get a 6. I feel like he's had no preseason. He needs to get up to speed. He needs to get to the level that Villa are. And I think once he can do that, it will be a savvy, astute signing from Villa that can come in, do a job, especially in the Europa League. So a solid 6. Pau Torres, 8. He's getting back to the best version of Pau Torres. So good. The partnership now with Konsa is immense. I'm loving that. And I even think he's got a level that he can get higher to. I think he's been very good so far, and I think he can get better and better. And he's one of my favourite Aston Villa players. Garcia, where are you? Nowhere to be seen. So I'm not sure what's going on there. Injury aside, who knows? I don't know. Right, Maatsen is going to get a solid 7. I think he's done well this season, especially in Europa. Going forward, attacking, he's looking bright. He looks like he knows his role within the squad, which I think is pretty good. I think if Digne was out, I'm super comfortable with Maatsen. I actually feel like his defending has improved, so he gets a solid 7. Ross Barkley, solid 7. Utility player, somebody who is highly regarded by Emery, and you can tell that. And I actually feel like he's going to have, if he can stay fit, a really important season for Aston Villa because I think he has got goals in him. I think he can kind of kill the tempo of a game, which Emery really likes him doing. Interesting that he was on the bench in the Europa League game because Mings was off, so we could bring him on. So that's interesting. Maybe he can be in and around it with the injuries. So I didn't know that rule changed, but that is a rule. Next up, Onana. He's going to get a 7 because a little bit like some of the other players, I actually feel like there's more to come. And I'm happy to give him a 7 to give him the room to improve. I think he looks, right, this is important. He looks like he's now suited to the Aston Villa Emery system. He looks comfortable. He looks like he's adapted perfectly to it. The midfield two of Kamara and Onana looks unreal. Like I'm saying, Tielemans, for me, can't get in this midfield two as of right now. So I want to see him keep playing well, bossing games, driving forward, taking shots, box crashing, being aggressive, tidy on the ball. If he carries on like this season, he's going to have a fantastic season for Villa. So let's just fingers crossed the injuries. Kamara, he's going to get a solid 8. I think he's crucial to Villa. I think he's been very, very good. But again, I think there's more there from Kamara. I think there's another little level. He's already he's looking back to his best, but I think there's a level that he can just switch up to. So for me, he's going to get an 8, but he's very, very important. Marlon, I'm going to give an 8. I think off the bench, he has been brilliant for Aston Villa this season. I really like Daniel Marlon. And again, the scenes at the end of the game against Bournemouth, happy, got his goal, just good feeling about him, going under the radar a little bit, pacey, all doing what Emery wants. So he's going to get an 8 for me because of his application and what he's doing off the bench. And Sancho is going to get a 7 because I actually feel like he's all right. I like him. I think he looks after the ball well. Would I like to see just that little bit more from him that can what would I like to see from him? I'd just like to see him just be a bit more creative, get the crosses in a little bit more, just be able to get an assist or a goal. I think that's quite important. So we're going to go next then with Unai Emery. So Emery's rating, I'm going to give, this is Unai Emery. I'm going to give Emery so far an 8. The recovery from the start of the season is unbelievable. What a manager. He's perfect. But I think we can be better. And I don't want to rate him higher than an 8 because I want to win something and I want to qualify for something this season. So let's build towards that. So, his tactical game plans are back on. He's utilising the squad, getting Buendia, Onana back, Marlon, Pau back to his best. He's very good. So that element of him, I think, has been absolutely unbelievable. What a manager. And we're starting to get better and better and better. Right. Now, the last part is who is Aston Villa's most important player? I've got 3. No, I've got 4. I've got 4. My 4. My 4 for most important are Konsa, McGinn, Martinez, and Kamara. Those four for me are absolutely pivotal to Aston Villa. Like I've mentioned when I've gone through them all. And I think if, for example, one of them was out, I'd be like, oh, big, we're talking big game now. We're talking big game. When we're talking Europa League final, we're talking who's got to be there. Well, all four of these have got to be there, to be honest. But my personal most important player, let's just put these back in their place. Did I give Kamara an 8? My most important is Kamara. He, for me, is so important because I feel like he allows Konsa to have the protection. He allows Martinez to have the protection. He allows Onana, Tielemans, Watkins, Rodgers to have the protection. He's in the middle of that park. He's Unai Emery's glue that glues everything together for me. So Kamara, I think he's having a solid season, but can get better. But for me, if I had to pick my most important, I'd say Kamara. When you're talking Emi Martinez in a Europa League final, very important. John McGinn, very important. Konsa, very important. You could say Rodgers, but I think these others allow everybody else to do their jobs. So that has been my episode for today, picking Aston Villa's most important player, but also taking a look at the players so far this season. All about opinions. I could maybe have put one higher than what you have, or one lower, or I could maybe have been a little bit more generous than what you have. But I think it's all about opinions, and you can put yours in the comment section on who you feel should be where, who would be your most important player. I think that's a good one to go off as well. So everybody, cheers for watching this episode, and we'll be back in the week now with two other little cheekies that we got lined up that are quite creative. So real good thinkers, real good talking points, real good topics that we can get our teeth into. And yeah, I think you're going to like them. Up the Villa.